Hi friends, Itheria here, and there's a ton of videos out about 6.3 now that it's dropped. Lots of guides about the extreme trial, or the new dungeon, or the new alliance raid, some showcases of clothing, but what everyone is overlooking are the super bomb quality of life updates that came out with this patch. So I'm just going to talk about my favorites in this video, but I definitely feel like they've been overlooked, and some people might not have even noticed that these have been added to the game, but they're here and they're wonderful. So let's just talk about it. First, I want to talk about some quality of life changes that have to do with like battle related stuff. So the first one, this is one that I've seen people talking about a little bit, but the game has added icons that indicate physical, magical, and unique damage. So this will look like a sword for the physical, a little kind of cane type thing for the magical, and then a green star-like thing for the unique damage. And these will show up in the battle log, but also if you have it, I don't know if this is something you can toggle or not, but if you have it on where you can see damage as you hit stuff and it's like on the screen, then you'll see it there as well. And this is really great for like, for instance, I am a noob. I don't know how I made it through the Savage tier, but I'm still a noob. And I tried playing Dark Knight once, as in like I unlocked it, and I noticed they have this skill. It offers mitigation, but it's only mitigating against magical damage, and I was like, how will I know? I feel like I would never know, but now I will know. Even if I end up pressing it and physical damage comes in, I'll know that it was physical, and if I can remember the attack name, then I'll be like, okay, next time don't use that because it's useless for this attack. So that's really cool. A lot of people really like that. Moving on, this next one is one that I'm personally peeing my pants over because this is so exciting. This is something that we've needed for the entire time that I've played. WAYMARKS save slots has been increased from 5 to 30. Are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure people were modding to be able to have more WAYMARKS slots because like when is 5 ever going to be enough? Never. And they've given us 30. They have listened. They have heard, and they're like, here's one less reason to mod. Anyway, the next battle-related quality of life change is that timers will now be displayed on the buffs that are next to people in the party list. So before, if I were to regen somebody, I would not be able to see the timer in the party list, and now you can. I personally think this could be really useful for Extreme or Savage trials where you get different timers, because there are a lot of mechanics where you'll get, like half the group will get a short timer and half the group will get a long timer. So if somebody's, maybe struggling with the mechanic, it'll be easier for the rest of the team to help them out and be like, hey, you have the short timer, you have to go here, that sort of deal. Or to use tools like shadow play to look back at everyone's timers and be like, okay, where did we go wrong? Why did we die here? Did someone go to the wrong spot? Who, what, where, when, and why? And I just think it's going to be really, really helpful. This next one has to do more with movement settings and targeting, but I can kind of see it potentially being used in battle. The first one is that you can now disable camera pivot and movement settings. I don't 100% understand what this will do because I don't think my camera pivots, so I don't really know what it's talking about, but I'm sure somebody does and has had the problem and are like breathing a sigh of relief now over this. But if you know what this is about, please tell me. Please explain the use case for this. The next one is mouse targeting. You can now disable right-click selection of player characters, disable right-click selection of non-player characters in battle, and disable right-click selection of minions. So especially the last one is going to be super helpful when you're in a crowded area and you're trying to like click on another player. Maybe you want to examine them, maybe you want to do like a G-pose with them and you end up clicking on their minion. That's super annoying. But in terms of battle, I wonder if people will basically do where maybe they want to right-click on the boss only but left-click on player characters, so that way they wouldn't be able to click on the wrong one. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Again, I'm not personally 100% sure of the use cases here, but I do feel like I see how it could potentially be useful, and I'm sure there's going to be people that are pretty hyped about this. This next one, I kind of feel like should have been in the game sooner, but basically they're adding icons to the map for things like deep dungeons, field operations, and the variant and criterion dungeons. So I still remember like having to Google where Eureka was because I was not playing the game when Eureka first came out. So when I wanted to go back and unlock it, not only did I have to find where the quest was, I also had to figure out like how to get in. Or I remember like unlocking it and then not doing it for like ever. And then like literally I forgot. I was like, where is it? I don't know how to get in there. Now there's an icon on the map for both Eureka and Bozja. So you will be able to know how to get in there. Same with things like Palace of the Dead, Heaven on High, and like I said, the Criterion dungeons. So there's little icons. I think it's cute. I think it's fun. I think it's useful. These next quality of life updates are about Glamour, and they are incredibly exciting for anyone who likes Glamour. The first one has to do with the Glamour Dresser. They have added a function that allows you to filter by level, gender, or keyword. So you can open this little sub menu up and literally start typing in the name of the piece of gear that you are looking for. If you are a fashion hoarder like myself, oh my god, this is gonna be so useful because sometimes I know exactly what piece I want and I even know like the name of it or part of the name. So the idea that I can just type that in and it'll show up is highly exciting for me. And another thing that is just as exciting, you're not gonna believe this, but they have actually made it easier to glam your retainers. Do you guys remember the days when you had to take all of your retainers gear off, put it on your own character, glam it on your own character, take it off, then put it back on the retainer? It was just such a hassle. It was so annoying. Honestly, I gave my retainers one outfit and never changed it because I just couldn't stand to do that all the time. And it was even more frustrating if you were a female but your retainers were male and you couldn't wear the same outfits. Like that just made it so much worse and so much more annoying and more difficult. Well, now all you have to do is summon your retainer and within the menu, it'll say cast glamour or dye items. So first you cast the glamour and it has to be something that's either in your retainer's inventory or your own inventory, and that includes your armory chest. Those are the only things that you can glam to, so you have to have the item like physically with you, which is pretty common if you are glamming outside of your glamour dresser. You typically have to have the item with you. And then same thing with the dyeing is you just have to have the dye in your inventory. You can click the dye items and you can just dye all of their fashion. So it's a lot easier to glam them now. And another glamour thing is you can actually try items onto your retainer. Same idea is you have to have your retainer summoned, then you can go into your inventory or your armory chest and find an item or a glamour that you like and just right click it and you will see it says try on retainer. Now, unfortunately, this only works with items that you have with you. Like they have to be in your inventory or in your armory chest. It does not work if you use the /I search shortcut to pull up other items that are like maybe in your glamour dresser. Like those you unfortunately cannot try on. You have to have it physically like with you, but it's still a really cool function. And this one is no longer in the glamour section, but I did want to talk about it because it has to do with retainers. But they added a function that they call Entrust duplicates. So basically, if you have stuff in your inventory that your retainer also has in their inventory, you can just click one button and all of the duplicate stuff will be sent to them, and it just sounds really cool. And basically, instead of having to go like one by one, finding all of the things and entrusting them to the retainer, the system basically does it for you. Except the cool thing is you do have the option to deselect items that you don't want to put into the retainer's inventory, even if they are duplicates. It's just, like I said, quality of life. Fantastic quality of life. This one is just for me. I just wanted to put this one in here for me because it's like probably not that big of a deal, but I said that this video was my favorite ones. So they moved AFKers from Island Sanctuary, so they're not blocking the NPC anymore. And I just love that. It's so easy to get to the NPC and to get into your island now because everybody's put in a different spot. I can't believe I almost left this out, but there has been a change to the HUD layout. Whenever you go to edit your HUD layout, before you had to choose between system, hotbars, and duty, like you could only edit one at a time. Now it's actually toggleable, so you can edit all three at the same time, just two, just one, and I think that's gonna be a pretty nice little change, especially if you're me and last minute in PvP, you realize that you have to change something about your UI because you can't see enfeeblements or whatever the heck you're trying to see, and then you're trying to do it mid-fight and you can't find the right thing because you have to toggle between them and it's really an issue, but now it's not an issue anymore. And the final quality of life updates I wanted to talk about have to do with crafting and gathering, because I don't craft and gather, so I kind of always end up leaving these out of my videos, and I felt kind of bad about it. But the thing is, the reason I do that is because I just don't understand anything. Like, I don't do this stuff, so like none of it makes sense to me. I don't get any of it. I don't know anything about it. Like, it's hard for me to talk about because I just have zero knowledge about it. So let's talk about some of the quality of life things. The main one is probably fishing. There's been a ton of stuff changed about fishing. It says that the number of fish displayed per page is increased from 25 to 100. They added some sort of search feature similar to what's in the Glamour dresser. So you can search, you can filter by region and regional folklore. There's an option to click big fish or collectible. I don't know what that does. I don't know if that searches for fish you already caught or what, but there's a search thing now. There's just all these like handy little changes that I don't really want to go through or talk about them all because I'd just be reading off of the page and I don't understand them, so I can't add my 2 cents, and I hate not being able to add my 2 cents. I'm nothing if not opinionated. Okay, and then the next one is just, apparently you can now display recently added items only. When you're looking at Scrip exchanges and Sundry Spendors. Again, I don't really know what any of this means, but I hope it's useful for you guys. I'm trying to include you guys, so I hope it worked and I hope you feel included. So those are all the quality of life updates I wanted to highlight in this video today, and if you enjoyed it, then maybe you could leave a sacrifice to Lord Algorithm in the form of a like, comment, share, or subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye!